Oh my god, yo, that autofocus is killer. What? What is up, crewmates? It is the man of the hour, every single hour, your host, Captain Tutu. Welcome to the Captain's Quarters, and this is the very first episode of Tutu's Topics. Quick rundown of the show. Tutu's Topics is a discussion show, week by week. I handpick different topics, or you guys can submit your own topics for me to discuss and talk about. I mostly want to keep it to gaming topics, but we can go off the rails and talk about anything from global events, updates on things going on in my life, whatever you guys want to hear, we will talk about. For this very first episode, I figured it would be sort of an introduction. Who is Captain Tutu? Who is Captain Tutu? Some of you guys that are watching may know me as Corey, you may know me as K Pure, and you may know me as Captain Tutu. Many of my different aliases, but who the hell am I? So I'm gonna just break down a quick look at the life and how I got to the position where I'm at right now. So I have like 3 different things I'm very passionate about: music, games, and food. Hell yeah, I said food. What? Some of my earliest memories link back to those passions that I've had. I remember when I was about like 3 or 2 years old, the very first game I ever played was Sonic the Hedgehog on that classic, that Sega Genesis with the Sega. So after Sonic, my brother really got into games, and I sort of followed suit with him. And I remember we got like a Super Nintendo system, and I played mostly like the licensed video games. So I played stuff from like Lion King, Batman Returns. But I did go back and I played like the classics like Super Mario World and Legend of Zelda. And eventually I went back to even like an NES. We owned an NES, but it was so like when I was born, it was like outdated. I barely used it. Games can help enhance your life. Playing a game, experiencing different worlds. I feel like, especially to me, like even online or even single player, a lot of the single player experiences are so enthralling and so awesome and so engrossing that it can really enhance your life. There are some times where I would play games to escape from current situations or reality or hardships. I don't recommend doing that all the time, but it is a better alternative than doing drugs or doing some crap like that or alcohol to try and escape from reality. I would tell myself and think to myself that in order to achieve good things or greatness, you have to be a good person and you have to do good. And so from early on, I learned that all drugs are bad. Don't mess with drugs. I don't drink, I don't smoke, never have, never will. That was never me. My escape, I would turn to games, and I would turn to music. I was in love with music very early on. I think especially as I got a bit older into my teenage years, like towards middle school, music was a high point in my life, and it was also another passion of mine. Hip hop and music and all that stuff is rooted deep within my family. So my family in general, such amazing, good-hearted, amazing people. I will not be the man I am today. I will not be Captain Tutu. I would not be who I am if it wasn't for my family and all that they've done to raise me and instill goodness in me and faith and all that. I've had an amazing family unit to help push me and back me up. So from elementary school to middle school, I feel like that is the perfect time to just enjoy being a kid and enjoy growing up and discovering cool different things. Growing up, I was into comic books. I loved cartoons, just like every kid. I would watch wrestling, WWE or WWF as it was known back then, the Attitude Era. So many different things that I would just get into and I would love to do, and so many positive things. I remember that was the time where I had like a PS2 and PS1, GameCube, and all that. Playing Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, San Andreas. There's so many good games I can correlate through that time and with that time. And I remember even being in elementary school, and no, it was middle school. I remember like you would share things that you would discover with people on PE and like on Grand Theft Auto, and we would share like cheat codes that we would use. I remember I had a PE friend that wrote down a whole list of cheat codes for me to try out, and I went home and I would try it out and play with it and just have a blast. I think it was in middle school where I started getting into online gaming. I remember my family, we had one computer amongst us, and I remember playing. I got into a game called RuneScape from school. I think that was really like my first online experience, and at the time, as cheesy as it was, I kind of knew it was cheesy, but it was so cool just to interact with people online, and have that interaction. I believe my name was Tutu on RuneScape. My aunt Nicole gave me that name. For those that don't know, some of you guys probably heard the story a million times. My aunt Nicole, she said when I was little I looked like a young version of Tupac, so she would call me Tutu, shorten it as like Tupac 2. So yeah, I went by Tutu on RuneScape, and then I remember a game came by. I was so into it, and it's so weird. It was called VMK, Virtual Magic Kingdom, and it was a Disney game, but it was based in Disneyland, and you can go around and interact with people, and it was so cool. And that was the first game where I went by the moniker of CaptainTutu. So from elementary to middle school, I mostly stayed a good kid. Nothing really significant happened. Really, I just remember just those being some of the most innocent and fun times I've ever had. Going into high school is like that pre-adult moment, that like just figuring out who you are and who you want to be. I remember in high school, oh my god, I went through like an identity crisis. Not that I mean I always had it in my heart to be good and do good things, but I remember I would be like a class clown and things like that, and my first so ninth grade, I failed like miserably. I just wasn't paying attention to school. I was being a class clown and wasn't turning in my homework and none of that. I remember this was around the time where the Xbox 360 came out, and oh my god, I was so hyped and so ready, and Halo 3 was coming out, and so many awesome good games. And my uncle one of my uncles got me an Xbox 360, but he wouldn't give it to me because my grades were awful. And I remember one time he took me to a restaurant, and we were sitting down and we were talking, and I don't really remember the details of this talk, but oh my god, that talk, I just remembered that it totally set me straight, and it set me on a totally different path from what I could have gone on, and just that, I wanted to do good and make my family proud, and do good for myself and make myself proud as well. But I did it. I succeeded. I graduated. Barely made it, but I did it. High school was some of the best years of my life. It was just figuring out the kind of person I wanted to be and who I wanted to become. Back then, we didn't really have goals or aspirations to be like a gamer, or YouTube was even fairly new back then. Twitch or Justin TV was non-existent, so those weren't in my goals or aspirations. I took to music, and that was my thing. I quickly took to music. Music was booming, so popular in high school. So I was the music guy. I was the good music guy. And I would really decipher and dissect songs and different things. I remember the very first concert experience I ever had was a Kanye West concert, and man, it blew me away. And that was probably the biggest reason when I saw Kanye West performing. It was the Glow in the Dark tour. So it was the Graduation album, which is my favorite Kanye West album to date. And seeing that man perform, I was like, my God, I was heart set. I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I've always wanted to inspire people, because in school there's so much. I mean, the school I went to was good, and I was fortunate to go to a good school like that. But you still see things and you notice things, and there's still people close to me that have lost themselves to drugs or alcohol or sex or many different addictions. Music was promoting, or hip hop was starting to promote drugs, alcohol, sex, and these things that could lead into addiction. And so my goal was, as a singer, I was a singer at the time, I wanted to deliver a message. Throughout all that time, I still had this other passion of mine, gaming. And oh my God, and through high school, I remember Xbox Live was the thing. We would play Halo 3 with my old high school buddies. Gears of War is oh man, amazing game. Even like Grand Theft Auto 4, and my favorite game of all time, Red Dead Redemption. And I would play it online in the wee hours of the morning, day in and day out. It was crazy, and I would all balance this while trying to get my grades back up, and I was even doing like theater. I was taking theater. I was in a play, and I was in choir, like singing classes. So I was man, I can't believe how much I was in the mix in high school. I was doing all these different things at the same time. It takes so many years of high school. I didn't want to do general education classes. I wanted to just go straight into music and learn and do different things with music. But little did I know that this passion of mine was dying and fading away very, very quickly. It was really weird for me, just so weird. And it got weird, or it was weird, up until I met my girlfriend. Most of you know her as MJ, Megan, and she is absolutely amazing and so helpful and so inspiring to me. It took until her to make me realize and admit to myself that I just wasn't interested in doing music anymore, and this was no longer a passion of mine. Years ago, you asked me, what do you imagine yourself being at 23? I would have never said to you a gamer. But it is such a huge passion of mine, and it's awesome that we've come to a point where watching games is just as fun as playing games, and it's good to have people that have different perspectives on different things, whether it's games, movies, music. And it's cool to watch people and look at their perspective and see what they think of something, or see how they react to something. That aspect is amazing. And thanks to the technology that we have today, there are jobs and careers that people are making just out of that. And so if I'm able to make this a career, then that would be absolutely amazing. This is such a huge passion of mine. I've always loved games and gaming in general. Meg helped me realize that what I'm doing now is what I want to do, and is what I want to grow, and is what I want to grow a brand out of. This is my dream. I thought for so long music was my God-given dream, but I realized that from you guys supporting me on Twitch, now YouTube, that you can inspire people from any form or anything that you do. And so to have you guys tell me that I inspire you guys, at 23 years old, at this age, through gaming and through my passion, is just absolutely heartwarming and amazing, and something that I could have never ever imagined. Thank you so much for joining me on the very first episode of Tutu's Topics. If you like what you saw, don't forget, like the video, share it, subscribe, tell your friends, and leave a comment down below. Next week, I'm gonna handpick a topic for you guys. I'm gonna have it gaming related, but comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode, and leave your own topics for future episodes. Mostly gaming related, but it could be pretty much anything. So thank you guys so damn much. As always, much love. God bless. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.